Hello and welcome back. Today the rain has stopped, so I'm just heading out over my local woodland for a walk and practice some bushcraft skills. I'm going to have some tea out tonight as well, which is going to consist of some bread, homemade bread, and an egg and cheese filling sarnie. So I'll get that cooked up later, but just walking along the canal now. Then I'm going to have a quick brew and I'll crack on with my afternoon. I think I might start building a frame for my shelter I want to build at my location. So I'm going to start building a frame for that. I've got my big folding book saw with me, the Boreal 21. So I'll get some cutting done and start putting a frame together, which I think is going to be like an A-frame, I think, between two trees. I'm just going to get a load of straights off a domed willow tree that's just by my camp. So, and yeah. So I've just got to camp and I thought I'd have a little wander around before I start setting up. And I have found something pretty cool. I knew there were some badger sets, or I think the badger sets, maybe fox, around here, because there was on the field behind my little camp. There was like track runs earlier in the year when I come and explored. But if I just spin you around, just here, you can see there is a track. And I've just worked my way down and see if I can do it again without falling. It's got my third leg here, which is a stick, and as you can see, there is a set. Now I've tried to look for some tracks. As you can see, there's a track that goes up that way as well, to the rear of like where my camp is. So my camp is just there. You can just see my day sack. So I might have to come and have a little scout out around here. With some, looks like some digging just here. But I'll try to look for some tracks, and I can't pick out any distinct tracks. I know it's rained, but the ground is still quite hard. There's another entrance just here, and then it goes up there, you can see. So I am going to have a little recce around here, I think, and see if I can find some animal tracks, because I want to try and get into a little bit more of animal tracking around this local area. I've seen like routes in and out of tree lines, etc. So I think I'm going to try and do a bit more around here. And now the brush is all starting to clear a little bit from the summer, it might be slightly easier to have a look around and see what I can find. But yeah, so I've been on the messenger, Trevor Ferrell Stevens, who's a brilliant animal tracker and trapper. So it's gave me some kind of books to look at, and I'm going to start doing a bit of tracking towards the winter and some trapping, which I know is illegal in the UK, but you're allowed to practice it as part of like bushcraft. So yeah, I'm going to do a bit of that, and hopefully as the behind camp, there's camp, behind there, the M6 is just behind there. As the ferns and bracken start to clear over the back, I'll be able to find some more track runs and do a bit of tracking, maybe find some scat as well. So, but yeah, that's the kind of area I was using before here. But the track that runs just over there, now it's coming towards winter, this is very visible from the track. So I think I might try and drop back behind there, maybe have a bit of a tidy out. But yeah, hopefully when this clears a little bit, I'll be able to do a bit of exploring over that part of the woodland just over there. So I'm going to start getting some material together for making my little camp, I think. We'll go from there. Okay, so I've got my wood just off to the right here, which I've just collected. There is some live willow, but it's good for it to be coppiced and it'll grow again next year. All right, so this is the area I'm going to be making my little shelter. Now, I was going to make like an A-frame, so like at the front like that, and then one long pole at the back. I think what I'm going to do is do like a lean-to, follow the angle of the tree. So I've got my long pole just here, which will go along the top here, and then I'm going to put a tripod either end for it to sit on, attach it to the tree, and then start leaning stick backs to create my roof. Okay, so that's be there. I'll bring you back once I've done the tripods and I'm ready to put the ridge line up. So the string I'm using today it's army green string. Anybody who's been in the army or the cadets will know this stuff is amazingly strong. It will not break. It's like a nylon cord. It comes in a big roll. This is obviously a lot smaller than it was when it first started, but amazing stuff. Green, and kind of blends in as well, so you haven't got bright paracord around. So, just like to show you the saw that I've been using. So this is the Agawa Boreal 21, so a 21-inch blade, made by Agawa Canyon, who's an American company, I believe. So the Boreal 21, so 21-inch blade, and it's a folding bucksaw, or bucksaw, or bow saw, whatever you want to call it. So the handle, that pops out the handle there, and basically it just spins around on itself and shuts. And I got a bag for it from a company called Brown's Bushcraft, which I think they've moved over to America now, so but you can still get the stuff on Etsy, or you can get pouches designed for these now. And it's a nice pouch, wax canvas, just pops inside with the tie at the top just to kind of protect it, and if it is dirty you won't get the rest of my kit dirty as well. So as I say, it just folds out like so, folds around, pops together. It comes with like a multi blade which is designed for green and dead wood, but you can get their own green wood or dead wood, or any 21-inch blade really. There's just some little lugs that pop out with some clips. So that's the saw I've been using today to put this together. So then I've got my main ridge pole just here, which is a dead standing tree which was over there, and I've got a tripod and a bipod. Now the tripod is for the back, and then the bipod is for the front, which is going to be here, so there's less stuff hanging around. I am going to tie the ridge pole to this so it doesn't move backwards and forwards, and tie it to this as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bipod out at the back here. So just twist the legs so they create a bipod, and I want it so the legs are in line with the edge of the shelter. So the stick is going to sit in there, the ridge pole. So then let's put the thicker bit at that end. So that'll sit in the ridge pole there, and then we've got my bipod here, which will sit nicely in between those two sticks. Just get that so it sits nicely. So that'll sit nicely there in between those natural bits on there. And then the plan is to get it straight as possible. So dig those in. I'm going to tie the ends together. I'm going to tie the ends. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this side up a touch to bring the legs and everything in. So I'm going to move it back a touch. I'm going to lash the centre pole to that tree as well to give it some more stability. And then let's just pop these in. I might dig those in slightly eventually. So that looks pretty flat. So my idea is to have an entrance just here so I can lie down. So I'm going to put sticks down the back of here to create a ridge and push everything back. I'll probably block off that end as well. My first job is I'm going to lash everything together so it's nice and sturdy, and then I can start putting the back bits on. Okay, so just thought I'd show you a simple method for lashing sticks or whatever you want to do, lashing a tripod, bipod, or lashing this top ridge pole to my tripod. So I'm getting it set up somewhere I want it. Obviously you will be able to adjust it slightly. So what I do is a nice simple loop round, like so, okay? And then what I do is just go over use the standing part, the working end, and use the standing part and just go over it 2 or 3 times and leave enough to be an end so you can tie off your wrapping. So that'll act as like a jam knot or a restrictor knot. So bring it round to a flat section, like so, on top of there, pull it tight. Once you pull it tight, it shouldn't move too much, and then you can start wrapping over and around. Then try to go over that bit again. So I need a simple wrapping for this one, so I'm just going to go around twice and then once around that way, just to hold everything together. Bring that round once as well, and then just a simple knot, just an overhand knot. Put your thumb on it, finger on it, whichever thing you've got. Tuck it through, use your tooth and just pull it tight. Just a simple overhand knot. That then is lashed together nicely. Okay, and you can do as many wraps as you want, or whatever. Okay, so I've got the tripod on this end, the tripod on that end, and I've just lashed it to the tree. And as you can see, it's really, really sturdy. Now one of the legs isn't quite on the floor here, so what I'm going to have to do is just dig it all in a little bit, bring this one in, bring it into the floor slightly, just to kind of strengthen it all up a little bit. Now I'm not going to dig these in, I don't think it needs it, but as you can see, super sturdy now. So I could use half a tarp on here, I could use a full tarp, whatever I wanted to do. But I have got a load of sticks here that I've cut, and I'm going to get some more. I'm going to start laying them down here to create a roof basically. So I'm just going to clear the section in line with the legs, because I want to go back as far as the legs really. Any little branches or anything, this tree is pretty dead, to be honest. I know there looks leaves on it, but some of these branches are dead. So just going to clear as much debris as I can. Get a stick. So the plan now is to get straight sticks and lay them on top of there. You don't want them too long sticking over, okay? So you just want them long enough so they'll sit nicely on your ridge pole. I'll just go along and chop these off in a bit. So you want sticks as straight as possible on here so you don't lose your headroom. And these are going to literally be anything that's lying around on the floor. And I'm not going to be too precious. Just going to chop that one off because it keeps moving. And keep all the offcuts. So I'm just going to lay them as close as I can. To curate my sleeping area underneath. So this is going to get done in one session, because it won't. So stuff that's got a bit of a bend in it, I'm going to put it my foot end, I think. So I might pop it down here a bit further along. It is higher at this one end, so that might have to stay down here actually. I might make this my foot end actually and make that my head end. So I'm going to lay them on there, And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lattice some thin ones in between them, and then to create a lattice work, so I can then make a kind of leaf shelter. So I'm going to try and collect up a load of the brush and everything around here when it starts to drop off the leaf litter, and make a debris shelter basically. The reason I want it quite at an angle is because if you're going to be making a debris shelter, you need it at an angle so the rain will run off quite easily. So I might just take it a touch at the back, make this my foot end, and then put this slightly longer sticks towards this tree, so I've got an head end, a little bit more space. So I've got this nice long stick here. So I might take that back as a peg just in the floor there from another project. So I might try and measure off that thick end in and down. Oh, that's pretty bent actually, that end, so we'll go thin end. As I say, I want a little bit more space for my head and your body this end, so we're going to go a little bit further back. So I'm going to have enough room from the central point there for my body. So I'm going to take it back a touch to about there and then cut it off and then measure everything off that one. Yeah, so I'm going to go and get some more sticks, twigs, everything, and then what I'm going to do this end is all these offcuts here I'm going to stick in the ground. I haven't got an axe today with me, put an end on them. I'm going to knock them in the ground to make a little wall this end and probably the other end as well, and then kind of block it in the front edge here as well. My plan is this year, towards the end of autumn, I am going to stay out over here, but I want something that's going to blend in, not like a basher or something, or a poncho. So that's the plan anyway, and this is kind of the flattest area I could find around here. So yeah, I'm just going to carry on with that and see how I get on today. It is 4:30, so I'm going to have some food soon. So yeah, right then, it's time for some food. So I'm going to make today some bread in my little cast iron frying pan over my Trangia cooker with a couple of scrambled eggs or fried eggs, depending on how it turns out. So just brought a simple bread mix, which is, and some cheese as well. Okay, so just brought a simple bread mix, which consists of flour, milk powder, and some brown sugar. I like quite a sweet bread, so that's what I'm going to go for. So I've got my 2 eggs, some cheese, got a grater in here as well, which is kind of a multi-use grater, which is for food or for tinder. So I'm going to use that to grate the cheese today. So I've got my little grater from Home Bargains, so we'll be in them. So I'm going to get the stove going. I'm going to mix the bread in my mini cast iron frying pan, and we're going to go from there, see how we get on. So when you're making bread, if you haven't made bread before, little tip is always leave a little bit left over in the bag. Reason being is if you add too much water, you've got some to add to it. If you just add the whole lot in, or if you mix it in the bag and don't take a little bit out, and you then, as I say, have the issue of adding too much water, you've got nothing to add to it to thicken it up again. You're going to have a very soggy wet bread. So I'm going to get my Trangia on the go. So shout out to Ferrell with his sticker on my my meths bottle. So Ferrell Stevens, nice one. So I'm going to get this filled up, get it lit, and mix the bread. Well, mix the bread first, then get it lit. So it's down there. Started using one of these little sparkers, just a flint and the wheel off a lighter on a little stick and a spring inside, and just to create sparks to light tinder, or in this case meths. It's actually a mixture of meths and the bioethanol. Find it, the mixing them together works quite well actually. So that's why I'm not sure if you meant to, but I do. Don't have any issues with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some bread in my frying pan. Some flour in my frying pan, and then I'm going to start mixing it with my spoon to start with, and then actually I've got my nice little spatula that I made out of oak. So I don't need a massive bun anyway for the eggs and cheese, so that's why I'm mixing it in here. So put as much as you want in, but always save a little bit back just in case you put too much water in. So I'm going to add some water now, make a little reservoir, and just add some water, and then just give it a mix through. You can do this on a bowl or a plate or whatever you want to use, but this is what I've got with me today, so this is what I'm using. Sometimes I have got a bigger non-stick frying pan, which works a treat because it's obviously non-stick. So as you can see, it needs a little bit more water, quite a bit more water. So just give it a splash, give it a mix again. Once it gets to a certain point, obviously you're going to have to get your hands in there and get dirty, and then just make sure you bring enough water with you so you can wash your hands afterwards. So that's quite a sticky mix at the minute, so just keep mixing it. Pick up the leftover flare on the bottom. Now that is a little bit sticky for my liking, so this is why you have a little bit left over. I'm going to add quite a bit here because I want a bit bigger piece of bread, so I'm just going to add a bit more and just build it up. So it's basically going to be bannock, so it's quite a flat bread. So a touch of water. So it doesn't need to have time to rise, you don't need to knead it, you don't need to let it proof or anything like that. It's just literally a flat bread, which I'm going to chop in half and put some egg and cheese on it and some salt and pepper. So it's a bit bigger piece of bread now, sorry, not a loaf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hands in there now. It's still a bit sticky, so make sure you pick up what we've got left of the flour. So it's starting to firm up now, sorry. So it's still a little bit sticky for my liking, but if you get your hand in there, pick up the bits of flour that are left. So that's a decent little piece of bread that's going to be there. So I don't want it too thick because I don't really want a massive piece of bread, but I'm flattening it out a touch. The more you play with it, the more it's going to get sticky again. So kind of get it round the way you want it. See, it's starting to stick to the pan of it now. So get it the way you want it round. Get some more in the pan. Get the pan warm and let's get it in. I've got my plate in here, so I can, should have got that out before I got covered in. So, got my plate there. Just going to put a bit of flour on there to stop it sticking. So it will rise a touch once it's in the pan, but so that's me leftover flour, which should always have a little bit left over just in case. Right, let's see if I can get this lit with this little sparky thing. You ready? Oh, there we go. So I'm going to give that a second to bloom and get going. Shift that down here. So now I need oil, which I've got my little Trangia bottle of oil here. I've got my little towel here to dry my hands. Which is proper minging anyway, so don't really matter if it gets covered in bits off the trees. So that's my hands wiped. Over there. So let's get the frying pan on. Let's get some bit of oil in. Well, quite a bit to help it not stick. It's got 2 eggs to go in here as well. So I'm going to spread the oil around. Let that warm up. So I am going to get my glove out so I don't burn my hand. So I'm going to let that warm up now, and then I'm going to put the bread in to cook for a little bit. So once it started cooking, I'll bring you back. So the oil is getting warm now. You see the Trangia is going quite nicely. So I'm going to drop the bread in. It's got to get rid of a bit of the oil. Put a touch too much in. And then I'm going to throw the bread in, 2 or 3 minutes aside. Let it rise a touch. And then I'll be able to use it as a... Can you hear it now? You can hear it and you can see it sizzling away. So about 2 or 3 minutes per side and that'll be ready. Okay, so the pan's nice and hot. So I've got my glove on as well because the handle gets red hot. I'm just going to flip over the bread now and see if it's ready on the one side. Oh yeah, look at that. Nicely golden brown. So that took about 3 minutes that side. So once this side is cooked and done, I'm going to use the tin foil, which is just here, off the cheese, trying to keep it nice and warm while I cook up the eggs. So I've got this nice little egg holder, which got 2 eggs in there ready to rock and roll, and then the cheese I'll run through the mini grater once the egg's kind of cooked. So it shouldn't be long now, another couple of minutes per side, and then I'll bring you back for the eggs. Right, so the bread looks almost done to me. It is starting to burn on that one side because the pan is red hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it off the pan, and I'm just going to cut it in half and see if it's cooked all the way through, which to be honest, yeah, it looks like it is. So put that down there a minute, and then what I'm going to do is to cook the eggs. I'm just going to throw the dampener on off the Trangia on, just trying to turn it down a little bit. So I'll leave my glove on a minute to hold this bread, and then let's just give it a chop. Make sure it's cooked all the way through. If not, I can always throw it back on for a couple of minutes. So it is a little bit, just a tiny bit doughy in the middle. I'll throw it back on for a few more minutes. Yeah, I'll bring you back once I'll get the eggs on. Okay, so the bread is done in the tin foil. I'll pop some more oil in the pan, and then I'm going to try do 2 eggs. It may turn into a bit of a scrambly egg, I think, to be honest. Let's have a go. I do like the yellow broken anyway. So I did adjust the dampener down so it's the flame thing on the trangier to kind of stop it getting absolutely red hot. Even though the pan is super hot anyway, I can feel it through the glove. So the egg is slightly sticking on this one side, which that may be to do with the seasoning, to be honest. This is, I got this tiny pan off Facebook Marketplace, and I'm still using it to season it. So yeah, some of the egg has stuck, but I can chuck some water in there and it'll come off anyway. So yeah, it's not stuck too bad actually. Just that one section there. You'll see in a sec. So I'll let that cook through a bit more, and then I'm gonna flip it over. I think get some cheese on there. I think so. Mini grater, and I'm just gonna grate some cheese onto the actual egg itself. And then I'll do the same on the other side, I think, once it's cooked. Yeah, not much of it stuck really. Quite happy with that. I think I'm just going to make like a bit of an omelette, I think. Just turn it over. A cheesy, eggy omelette on bread, which smells amazing. If only we had smelly vision. More cheese on top. And then pepper and salt. And I've got some like spicy rub stuff, which put a bit of that on, why not? So I'm just going to let that cook off now. I'll do a bit of admin while I'm waiting for that. So pop my egg case away, pop the flour away. I'm not going to need any more oil, but I am going to make a brew, so I'll leave the brew kit out. Don't look too bad, does it, that? Cheesy, eggy omelette. So I've got my titanium mug here, ready to pop on the Changia. So I'm going to make a brew. A spoon can go on there. The one thing I did forget was tomato sauce, which was daft. So it's just gone 5 o'clock. So I'm getting my bread out, which looks good. I do like the cheese, so I might just put a bit of cheese on the actual bread as well. Right, I think we are done. As I say, the only thing I'm missing is tomato sauce, which is a shame really, because that would have been nice. So I'm put a bit of water in there. Just scrape the egg off. Before I get the cup on for a brew. I'll let that water just sit in there a minute. Take that off. Put that back on. Oh no, I forgot. We've got them in here. I think this will work. Yeah, I forgot that this cup doesn't fit on here. But no, that's not going to work. What have I got? Oh, I know what I've got. The actual thing what it's meant to use it for. One of these. And then hopefully I can just drop that on there without burning myself too much. Alright. So on my bread with egg and cheese. That's banging. Oh, I'll bring you back in a bit. So, cup of tea's done. I like to use milk powder rather than like the whitener, but you do have to mix it with a bit of cold water first before you put it in. It goes clumpy, so I just mix that in my billy can and added it to the I might put my a little folding green mug in. I've got 2 or 3 of them, so I might put them in if using this more often. I've also just put my 2 metre DD tarp up above me. Just it's dropped a bit dark, the wind's picked up, so I think it's going to rain in a minute. So hopefully it is quite high, but we're quite sheltered in here, so hopefully the rain will just come straight down. Not at an angle and I'll get absolutely soaked. We'll start packing some of my kit away and then have a tidy up and then probably call it a day today. So I'll see you again soon. So I've decided to stay a little bit longer from having my brew because the rain has held off. So I'm going to go and hunt down some more straight sticks to create my roof for the for my shelter. So I'm going to have a little wander around, see what I can find, and yeah, see if I can find some more straight willow or some hazel will do. So I have packed up because since you're losing light quite quick, it's that time of year, isn't it? So I've just added a few more sticks on here, and I need to add a couple more at that end. So next time I come over, which will probably be, if the weather's okay, probably one of the evenings next week, I'll keep filling in the gaps there. Then what I want to do is I want to get some smaller twigs, like the stuff on the ground, and I'm going to try and weave it in and out of the big logs. And then once the leaf litter kind of comes down off the trees, off these hawthorns and the beech that's over that way and all these, I'll start stacking it up behind it and then put more twigs on top to hold it all in place. I'm also going to build up this end wall and that end wall, and I'm going to probably come to about here with a side wall as well if I've got enough sticks. But next time I come in, I'm going to keep my eye out on the way in and out for really straight sticks and bring a couple back every time. I have my little silky pocket saw pocket boy in my pocket ready to cut some stuff on the way in, so because I haven't got all the materials within this local bit which I need. So right, I'm going to leave it there, and our kit's so Daysack's packed just there, and it is dropping a little bit now, so I'll leave it there and I'll see you soon. Cheers.